11 shocking recent archaeological discoveries that even top experts can't explain. Hello, welcome to the Ancient History Channel. Dear friends, have you ever wondered what secrets might be hiding beneath the layers of Earth? Ancient bones, mysterious tombs, or even objects that modern science still cannot explain? You know, even though humanity has come so far, reaching into space, it seems we still don't fully understand our own planet, especially its past. For decades, archaeologists around the world have been tirelessly excavating and studying, and often they've been stunned by their own discoveries. From vampire skeletons in Bulgaria, to a black coffin weighing hundreds of tons in the Egyptian desert, to ancient ships resting quietly at the bottom of the Black Sea for 2,000 years, each of these discoveries sends shivers down the spine with their mysterious and bizarre nature. Some ruins reveal civilizations that once existed and then vanished without a trace. Some artifacts don't fit into any known historical timeline, as if sent from another world. And the most terrifying part is, the deeper we dig, the more we uncover things that human reason simply cannot explain. Of course, all of this sounds chilling, but every one of these discoveries is real, documented by the world's leading archaeologists. So if you're curious to know what these discoveries are and what secrets they might hold, then in this video, let's embark on a journey to explore the 11 most shocking archaeological discoveries in recent times, findings that have left even top experts speechless. And remember, brace yourself, because after hearing them, you might see the world in a completely different way. Now, let's start with our first discovery. 32 skeletons in giant jars, a 2nd century mystery without an answer. In the peaceful garden of the Radosevic Palace, a historic building over 400 years old on the island of Hvar, Croatia, archaeologists accidentally uncovered one of the most chilling mysteries of ancient European history. Beneath what seemed like an innocent layer of soil, they discovered 32 skeletons dating from the 2nd to the 5th century AD, buried in a bizarre and unprecedented way. They were not placed in coffins, but sealed inside giant ceramic jars. These unusual graves were arranged in 20 burial pits topped with tiled roofs, reminiscent of ancient Roman funerary styles. What truly shocked experts, however, was the jar burial practice, a custom almost never seen in this region before. The jars were amphorae, a type of ceramic vessel common in many ancient Mediterranean civilizations, characterized by a bulbous body, narrow neck, and 2 symmetrical handles. Normally, amphorae were used to store wine, olive oil, or grain, not human remains. When researchers opened the jars, they were stunned to find not only skeletons, but also countless grave goods, miniature ceramic vessels used in daily life, oil lamps, bottles, coins, glass containers, and numerous other objects reflecting everyday life. This indicates that the individuals buried were not neglected. They were interred carefully, as if the ancients believed their lives would continue in the afterlife. Notably, most of the 32 skeletons belonged to children, including infants, though a few belonged to adults. Why this was the case remains a mystery. Was it a cemetery specifically for children, or a special spiritual ritual believed in by the ancients? This question continues to puzzle archaeologists. A remarkable aspect of this discovery is that because the skeletons and artifacts were sealed inside the large ceramic jars, they have been preserved almost perfectly for thousands of years. This exceptional preservation allows experts to study ancient pottery techniques, burial customs, and the material life of Mediterranean civilizations in extraordinary detail. Many jars were found to be made of special materials and fired at extremely high temperatures, showing that ancient peoples had advanced ceramic technologies far beyond what was previously imagined. Yet the greatest mystery remains. Why did they choose this method of burial? Some hypotheses suggest that these were rituals for fragile young souls, protecting children from evil spirits and allowing them to rest safely in the embrace of Mother Earth. Others propose that amphorae symbolized rebirth, like a cradle holding life, so placing the remains inside the jars represented returning the soul to its beginning. Even so, to this day, no one can say for certain why this strange burial method was practiced. All that exists are theories woven around the 32 skeletons lying quietly beneath the ancient garden. This discovery not only opens a new chapter in the archaeological history of the Balkans, but also reminds us that the ancient world still holds countless mysteries. Each giant amphora is more than a relic. It is a silent witness, telling the story of a time when humans believed that death was merely a door to another journey. And who knows? Beneath the soil of Croatia, there may still be more jars waiting to be unearthed, carrying secrets that even the world's top experts cannot yet explain. Quite possible, isn't it? The 220,000-pound black coffins buried deep beneath Egypt. If one day you found yourself lost in the blazing golden desert of Egypt and suddenly came across a dark entrance leading deep underground, would you dare to step inside? Most people would probably be terrified and shake their heads in refusal, right? But for archaeologists, nothing is off limits. Because, as you may know, right beneath those seemingly endless layers of sand lies a secret that has amazed the world for centuries. Massive black coffins weighing up to 220,000 pounds, buried deep within the ancient tomb network at Saqqara, near the step pyramid of Pharaoh Djoser in Egypt. Just hearing about it gives you chills, doesn't it? But what truly baffles researchers isn't the weight of these coffins, it's the astonishing craftsmanship. Each block of Aswan granite, an extremely hard stone, was carved with near-perfect precision. Not a single gap, not the slightest misalignment. Just thinking that people managed this over 3,000 years ago, without modern machinery or laser-cutting technology, is enough to make one question. Could this really be the work of humans? Or is it evidence of another civilization? Or even extraterrestrials? According to Egyptologists, the mastermind behind this mysterious underground tunnel system was none other than Prince Kamweset, son of the great pharaoh Ramesses II of the 19th dynasty. He is regarded as the first archaeologist of the ancient world because of his passion for collecting and preserving the relics of his ancestors. And the purpose of this construction, according to some hypotheses, was not for human burial, but to safeguard the mummies of Apis bulls, sacred animals believed to be incarnations of Ptah, the creator god in ancient Egyptian religion. Can you imagine? Each coffin weighing hundreds of tons just to hold a single bull. A striking testament to the Egyptians' devotion to the divine and the intensity of their ritual practices. The story of this strange necropolis began in 1850, when French archaeologist Auguste Mariette accidentally discovered the head of a sphinx peeking out from the thick sand of the Saqqara Desert. Sensing that something extraordinary lay beneath, he began to excavate. After months of struggling under scorching sun and shifting sands, Mariette uncovered a large stone pathway leading straight to the underground tombs. Then, when he used explosives to break through the blocking stones, a never-before-seen scene appeared. The massive black coffins we just mentioned, lying in solemn darkness, exuding an eerie yet majestic aura. Although most of Mariette's detailed excavation records have been lost over time, his work opened a new chapter in Egyptian archaeology. Remarkably, even today, researchers believe that many coffins still remain unexcavated deep within the Saqqara tomb network. Every time they dig a little further, they discover something new, a trace, an inscription, or even a clue that could reveal truths about an ancient civilization the modern world still cannot fully understand. What do you think? Are these black coffins simply the resting places of the sacred Apis bulls? Or are they evidence of advanced technology beyond the comprehension of ancient humans, only now becoming known to us? And the same question remains. If you had the chance to stand before these enormous black stones, would you believe you were gazing upon the remnants of a forgotten civilization? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The mysterious vampire grave in Bulgaria, revealing the belief that death is not the end. In the wild borderlands between Bulgaria and Greece, a region that once witnessed mysterious ancient civilizations, archaeologists have recently uncovered a grave that has sent chills around the world. Inside, it wasn't an ordinary mummy, but the skeletal remains of a real vampire dating back to the 13th century. Evidence of the strange fears and beliefs people in the Middle Ages held about life after death. The key figure in this shocking excavation is the famous archaeologist Nikolai Ovcharov, often called the Indiana Jones of Bulgaria. While working at the ancient city of Perperikon in southern Bulgaria, he unexpectedly discovered an unusual skeleton. At first glance, it seemed no different from ordinary remains, but when the last layer of soil was removed, the entire excavation team went silent. Before them lay the skeleton of a man estimated to be 40 to 50 years old, pierced through the chest with an iron spike weighing nearly 2.2 pounds, forged from a plow blade. Most chillingly, His left leg had been removed and placed separately from the body. Archaeological records indicate that this gruesome ritual was not random. People in the past believed that if someone died under unusual circumstances, such as suicide, sudden illness, or sudden death, their soul would not rest and could return to haunt the living as a vampire. To prevent this, the dead were pierced and dismembered, ensuring that the vampire could not leave the grave. It sounds terrifying, doesn't it? But for medieval people, this was the only way to ensure that the dead would remain peacefully buried. Interestingly, this discovery is not unique. According to Božidar Dimitrov, director of the National History Museum in Sofia, over 100 vampire skeletons have been found in this region, showing how widespread the belief in the undead once was. One particularly notable find occurred in 2012, when archaeologists unearthed twin vampire skeletons in the city of Sozopol, not far from Perperikon. The first skeleton was a man whose legs were bound and pierced through the chest with an iron spike, a clear symbol of the protective ritual. The second was even more chilling, the remains of the notorious pirate Krivic, condemned for spreading disaster. Instead of iron, a sharp stone had been driven through his chest, a curse to ensure he would never rise to take revenge. In some other graves, archaeologists even found cats or chickens buried alongside the deceased. According to ancient belief, these animals watched over the soul, preventing it from leaving the grave while protecting the villagers from misfortune. You see, these images make us reflect. In an age without science, humans used faith and ritual to confront their fear of death. Therefore, the discovery of this vampire grave is not just an archaeological artifact. It opens a window into the spiritual world of the past, where the line between the living and the dead was frighteningly thin. And from this discovery arise many questions. Are vampires real, or are they products of imagination and fear? Were these rituals mere superstition, or traces of a deep belief we still cannot fully understand? It is difficult to answer these questions. All we know is that beneath the soil of Bulgaria, skeletons pierced through the chest still lie in silence, a reminder that sometimes humans fear death not because it ends everything, but because they believe something far scarier may lie beyond it. 3,000-year-old mummy found beneath a landfill reveals the gruesome sacrificial rituals of an ancient civilization. In the bustling heart of Lima, Peru, a place people usually associate only with the sounds of traffic and the smell of trash, a secret has been hiding that has stunned the archaeological world. Buried beneath tons of modern waste, researchers unexpectedly uncovered a mummy over 3,000 years old, revealing traces of a mysterious ancient civilization, the Manche culture, where people once believed that human sacrifice was a way to communicate with the gods. This remarkable discovery was made by a team of archaeologists and students from the National University of San Marcos. While surveying what seemed like a worthless plot of land, strands of hair and part of a human skull suddenly emerged from the trash, causing the team to halt immediately. At first, everyone assumed it was just leftover animal bones. But as they dug deeper, the situation quickly exceeded all expectations. Beneath the layers of trash, weighing over 16,500 pounds, lay a fully intact mummy, positioned in the traditional fetal posture of ancient people. To remove the mummy, the team had to clear roughly 16,500 pounds of garbage and soil, an enormous task for such a small area. When the final layer of soil was cleared, the team was astonished to find a mummy incredibly well preserved, even after more than 3 millennia. The area was immediately cordoned off for careful excavation and study. What made this discovery even more fascinating were the ancient artifacts found around the mummy: corn kernels, coca leaves, and other seeds. These were common offerings in ancient Peruvian religious rituals. According to archaeologist Miguel Aguilar, the artifacts, combined with the mummy's seated posture and burial location, suggest that this individual was likely a sacrificial victim in a final ritual during the construction of an ancient temple. Preliminary analysis shows that the mummy bears the clear characteristics of the Manche culture, which existed roughly 1,500 to 1000 BCE. The Manche were known for building U-shaped temples oriented toward the sun, reflecting their deep reverence for the gods and the cosmos. Remarkably, this mummy was found precisely within an ancient U-shaped structure, suggesting that the individual may have been chosen as a bridge between the human world and the divine. According to the research team's hypothesis, the Manche believed that human sacrifices performed at the final stage of temple construction would bring blessings and eternal protection from the gods. Those selected for sacrifice were often healthy, socially important individuals, considered chosen by the gods, rather than mere victims. Looking back, it is astonishing that in the middle of a 21st century landfill, people could uncover a living witness of a civilization lost over 3,000 years ago. The image of the mummy lying silently amid the garbage is haunting, a stark contrast between the sacred past and the harsh present. A mummy under a landfill may sound like a tale from fiction, yet it is a real fragment of history, offering insight into how ancient people confronted death, faith, and their desire to reach the divine. Perhaps they could never have imagined that after thousands of years, their story would be discovered amid the modern waste, serving as a reminder that the past never truly disappears. 60 ships, 2,000 years old, found intact as if they sank yesterday in the Black Sea. Beneath the dark waters of the Black Sea, a place that seems ruled only by silence and darkness, archaeologists have discovered an unexpected treasure. Over 60 ancient ships resting on the seabed, some of which have been asleep for more than 2,000 years, yet their hulls remain astonishingly intact. Yes, you heard that right. Roman, Greek, and Ottoman ships still stand on the ocean floor as if time never touched them. This groundbreaking discovery comes from the Black Sea Map Project, one of the largest underwater archaeology projects in the world. Initially, the team was not hunting for shipwrecks, but studying the ancient environmental changes of the Black Sea region, particularly the effects of sea level rise after the last ice age. However, while using deep-diving robots to survey the Bulgarian coastline, they unexpectedly uncovered a massive cemetery of ancient ships, astonishing the scientific community. What amazed researchers even more was the state of preservation of the vessels. At depths of thousands of feet, where sunlight barely reaches, oxygen is scarce, and few organisms survive. The seabed acts as a perfect natural storage chamber. Without microorganisms or marine life to destroy the wood, the hulls, rudders, masts, ropes, and even cargo remain as if newly built. On a Roman ship more than 2,000 years old, scientists even found ropes still soft to the touch, as if they had been tied yesterday. Some of these ships were previously known only through ancient paintings and murals, but now they appear vividly in reality, offering humanity the chance to witness the shipbuilding techniques of the ancients firsthand. Imagine a Greek merchant ship, its rudder still attached, cargo neatly stacked on the deck, and the hull standing upright in the dark waters. The scene resembles an underwater museum, where time has been frozen for millennia. To preserve and study every detail, Professor John Adams' team from the University of Southampton in the UK used the world's most advanced 3D printing technology to replicate the full structure of these ships. This allowed them to reconstruct each vessel in real space, essentially restoring a portion of history buried beneath the sea. After 3 years of continuous exploration, the Black Sea Map Project surveyed over 810 miles of seabed, collected more than 100 sediment core samples, and discovered a total of 60 ancient shipwrecks, including 20 found in the final stage of the project. The data collected not only helped scientists reconstruct the ancient environment, but also provided insights into how people lived, traded, and migrated across the region through time. What is particularly remarkable is that each shipwreck revealed more than just trade routes and maritime techniques. They also carried traces of civilization itself, showing how ancient humans crossed oceans, traded goods, and told their stories through these vessels. With every ship brought to light, we open another window into the past, where humans, the sea, and time continue to narrate a story that has never truly ended. 742 skeletons, 9,000 years old, discovered in Turkey. If there is any place in the world that could be considered the cradle of urban life, it is likely Çatalhöyük, an archaeological site in central Turkey, once a bustling city 9,000 years ago. And believe it or not, among these ancient ruins, scientists have uncovered 742 human skeletons, a staggering number that sent shockwaves through the archaeology community. These skeletons don't just tell the story of life during the Stone Age, they also reveal a horrifying tale of disease, violence, famine, and societal collapse, what many now refer to as the curse of the first city on Earth. According to Professor Clark Spencer Larson, an anthropologist at Ohio State University, Çatalhöyük was a thriving settlement from around 7,100 BCE, home to approximately 8,000 residents. Many believe this to be humanity's first city, marking the transition from a nomadic lifestyle to permanent settlement. But beneath the lively appearance lay a dark reality few could have imagined. Residents lived so densely packed that houses were built wall to wall, leaving almost no passageways between them. Unable to enter through doors as usual, people had to climb ladders onto rooftops and slide down inside. Can you imagine that? A city where people had to crawl through roofs to get into their homes? That alone shows just how cramped and suffocating life must have been. During excavations, researchers discovered that 25% of the first 95 skeletons had cracks in the skull, indicating deaths caused by violence or severe impacts. Additionally, 33% of the total 742 skeletons showed signs of infection, likely due to unsanitary living conditions. The team also found accumulations of human and animal waste within the floors and walls, revealing just how filthy the environment was. Poor nutrition further weakened the residents' health. Evidence shows that 13% of women and 10% of men had severe tooth decay, as their diet consisted mostly of grains, lacking sufficient meat and vegetables. As the population grew and food became scarce, people had to walk long distances daily to find sustenance, which over time caused deformities in their leg bones. Overcrowding, scarcity, disease, and violence spread relentlessly, slowly turning Çatalhöyük into a city of the dead. Each skeleton unearthed here is not only the remnant of a person who once lived, but also a testament to a civilization that collapsed under the weight of its own progress. After roughly 1,000 years, humanity's first city disappeared, leaving behind a haunting question. Could this be a warning from the past to our modern world? Perhaps the clearest answer lies in observation. The more humans develop, the denser the population grows, and the more the environment suffers, the more the tragedies experienced by Çatalhöyük's residents may mirror our own era. Çatalhöyük, therefore, is not just an archaeological site, it is a mirror of human history, a place where humanity first learned to live together, and also a place that reminds us that every step of civilization comes at a cost. 2,000-year-old mummy found in Yemen. Dump reveals traces of the legendary Saba kingdom. In the heart of Sana'a, Yemen, a city still scarred by the sounds of bombs and the smoke of war, a shocking discovery has stunned the world. Amid piles of garbage, a 2,000-year-old mummy was found, curled up in a fetal position and wrapped in animal skin, a mummification style characteristic of ancient Yemen. What distressed archaeologists the most, however, was that the mummy's abdomen had been sliced open, clear evidence that it had fallen victim to grave robbers, thieves who plunder historical treasures for profit on the black market. According to the Yemen Antiquities and Museums Organization, this mummy likely dates back to the 3rd century BCE, meaning it lived during the glorious era of the Saba kingdom, a land believed by legend to have been home to King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The mere thought sends shivers down the spine. Amidst today's trash, there lies a witness to a civilization that vanished thousands of years ago. The Saba kingdom was once a prosperous trading empire, enriched by its strategic location along key maritime routes. From here, camel caravans loaded with frankincense, myrrh, and gold-crossed scorching deserts, spreading the fame of the Sabaeans far and wide. During this period, they also pioneered mummification techniques, becoming the 3rd civilization in the world to preserve human bodies after the Egyptians and the Chileans. Yet tragically, that heritage is now being eroded by war and poverty. The discovery of this 2,000-year-old mummy, discarded in a dump, has sparked outrage among local residents. Their anger is not only about the desecration of a historical relic, but also reflects the collective pain of a nation, as priceless artifacts are continuously looted and smuggled out of the country. Meanwhile, preservation institutions are struggling amid ongoing conflict. The Sana'a National Museum has taken in the mummy for safekeeping, but experts warn that bacteria are beginning to infiltrate it, and without urgent intervention, it could completely decompose. Researcher Abdullah Mohsen, who monitors antiquities smuggling in Yemen, notes that many more ancient mummies remain hidden in natural and man-made caves across regions such as Saba, Himyar, Kataban, Ausan, Main, and Hadramaut. These caves were once sacred resting places for Yemen's ancestors, but have now become targets for profit-driven treasure hunters. Even the Sana'a University Museum, currently caring for 12 mummies, struggles daily due to insufficient preservation conditions, leaving these priceless relics at high risk of destruction. It is heartbreaking. A country already suffering the world's most severe humanitarian crisis must also bear the burden of protecting thousands of years of ancestral memory. Amid the smoke and flames of war, these mummies are not merely the remains of people who have passed. They are the souls of an entire civilization, striving to preserve its existence. Imagine if, one day, the remaining mummies were lost. The stories of the glorious Saba kingdom, of merchants crossing deserts with frankincense and myrrh, would vanish forever into the sands of time. It is a sobering thought. Do you think humanity is forgetting its responsibility to preserve the past? A past that holds lessons no book could ever replace? Share your thoughts below so we can continue this conversation. The sleeping mummy from a northern European bog, 2,400 years old, sends shivers around the world. Can you believe that in a cold, damp bog, a body could be preserved so perfectly for over 2,400 years that it looks as if the person had just fallen asleep? It sounds almost unbelievable, right? But this extraordinary story is entirely true, and it began in the 1950s in Silkeborg, Denmark, when a family was digging peat for fuel. While digging, they stumbled upon something soft, resembling a real human body. Judging by the skeletal shape, it was a man. He lay curled up in a fetal position with a rope still around his neck. The state of preservation was so perfect that the family was terrified, thinking this might be the victim of a recent murder, and they immediately called the police. When scientists investigated, they were astonished to discover that this was not a modern crime scene, but an ancient mummy dating back over 2.5 millennia. Further analysis revealed that the man had died around 405 to 380 BCE during the early Iron Age in Northern Europe. He came to be known as Tolland Man, named after the village where his body was found. From that moment, Tolland Man became one of the most mysterious and famous mummies in the world. What makes Tolland Man particularly remarkable is not just his age, but his extraordinarily serene facial expression. Just think about it. A man who was hanged, yet his face shows no trace of fear or pain. Instead, he looks calm, almost as if he is sleeping through a dream lasting millennia. What does this tell us? Many researchers believe that Tolland Man was not a victim of a crime, but possibly a person chosen in a sacred ritual sacrifice, an offering to the gods to ensure a good harvest or divine protection. Of course, this is still a hypothesis. The truth remains unknown. But the most astonishing part is yet to come. Despite lying in a dark peat bog for 2,400 years, Tolland Man's skin, hair, beard, and facial features remain remarkably intact. How could a human body survive so long? The answer lies in the peat bog itself, an environment that paradoxically acts as a perfect natural coffin. Northern European peat bogs are highly acidic, low in oxygen, and almost devoid of microorganisms, creating conditions that completely halt decomposition. Soft tissues, skin, and Tolland Man's body were essentially sealed and preserved for millennia, almost frozen in time. If you see a close-up photo of his face, it is enough to make your skin crawl. He looks as if he is merely napping, not someone who left the world more than 24 centuries ago. After excavation, Tolland Man's head was preserved at the Silkeborg Museum in Denmark, while his body was reconstructed in wax based on detailed research data. Every year, thousands of visitors come, not only to see an ancient mummy, but to confront the timeless questions of life and death. Did he know he would be sacrificed? Did he step onto the hanging scaffold voluntarily? Or was he simply a victim of a harsh ritual that history has forgotten to record? Tolland Man remains there, under the dim museum lights, eyes half closed, face peaceful, as if dreaming of an ancient era. And perhaps, to this day, he still holds the secrets of 2,400 years of history, waiting for someone patient enough to listen to the story of the man from the bog. The mysterious tomb, beneath the lake, guarded by 3,000 sacred swords. Did you know that hidden beneath the calm waters of a lake in Suzhou, Jiangsu Province, China, there lies a secret that has endured for over 2,500 years, the tomb of King Helu of Wu, a legendary ruler in ancient Chinese history? According to records, the tomb is located at the foot of Tiger Hill, in the middle of a lake approximately 180 feet across and more than 16 feet deep. Legend has it that inside the tomb, 3,000 treasured swords were buried to protect their master in his eternal rest. For more than 2 millennia, no one has been able to touch that secret. The story goes that after King Helu passed away in 496 BCE, his son Fusai mobilized millions of laborers across the kingdom to construct the tomb for his father. Knowing that his father had been passionate about swordsmanship throughout his life, Fusai arranged for 3,000 swords to be buried in the tomb, including some called sacred swords, each believed to carry the spirit of a legendary blacksmith. Because of this, people believe the tomb is not only buried deep beneath the lake, but also guarded by the souls of the 3,000 swords. Throughout history, many have tried to infiltrate the tomb, but all attempts failed. The first was King Gujian of Yue, the longtime enemy of the Wu kingdom. After defeating Fusai, he sought to seize the treasure inside King Helu's tomb, but despite deploying countless people, he could not find an entrance. Over 200 years later, Qin Shi Huang, the powerful emperor of China, also sent troops to Tiger Hill, determined to open the tomb. Yet the result was the same. The tomb remained silent and impenetrable, as if some mysterious power was guarding it. Over time, King Helu's tomb became a legend. In 1512, during a severe drought, the water around the tomb receded, revealing the lakebed and traces of an ancient structure. The renowned scholar Tang Bohu, one of the 4 great talents of Jiangnan, eagerly prepared to excavate. But just before the operation, local authorities forbade him, and the tomb quietly sank beneath the water once again. It was not until 1955 that modern experts drained part of the lake for a survey. They discovered inscriptions carved in stone by Tang Bohu and other historical figures, proving that King Helu's tomb was real and not merely legend. However, after much discussion, archaeologists decided not to excavate, opting to preserve the site. In 1978, another team of experts resumed the search. After clearing the mud from the lakebed, they found a triangular cave, believed to be the entrance to the tomb. But upon reaching the heavy stone door, they realized that above it stood Tiger Hill Tower, a cultural landmark of Suzhou. Breaking the door could cause the tower to collapse. Faced with the choice between treasure and heritage, they were forced to stop. To this day, King Helu's tomb remains undisturbed beneath the lake, and the 3,000 sacred swords, the pride of the Wu kingdom, are said to be resting alongside their warrior king. Archaeologists call it the most impenetrable tomb in China, while locals believe that anyone attempting to enter would face misfortune, for the spirits of the 3,000 swords still guard their master. So, what do you think? Is the tomb truly guarded by sacred swords, or is it simply an ingenious structure ahead of its time? And if one day humans manage to excavate King Helu's tomb, will the legendary 3,000 sacred swords truly exist, or has a mysterious shroud covered them for over 2,500 years? I believe the tomb is entirely real. It's just that no one has been brave enough to open it yet. The 3,500-year-old Princess's Chamber, a gateway into the royal world of ancient Egypt. Along a small cliff on the west bank of the Nile River in Egypt, archaeologists have recently uncovered a mysterious tomb, believed to be the chamber of a princess from the Thutmose dynasty, the golden age of ancient Egypt some 3,500 years ago. The story began when a team from the Supreme Council of Antiquities of Egypt, in collaboration with Cambridge University, conducted a survey of the Valley of the Queens, the final resting place of many noblewomen throughout Egyptian history. While tracing the remnants of a sand-covered entrance, they discovered an ancient stone staircase leading deep underground. Each step seemed to represent a layer of time, each turn a whisper from the past. At the end of the descent, a sealed stone door had patiently waited for millennia to be opened. When the door finally swung open, the team was met with a breathtaking sight. Before them lay an ancient royal chamber, once the resting place of a royal figure, possibly a princess or a consort of a Thutmose prince. Despite the passage of thousands of years, traces of luxury and opulence were still clearly visible. Faded painted walls, intricately carved decorations, and meticulous arrangements reflecting royal status. Time, however, spares no one. The tomb had suffered from flooding and sediment intrusion, causing significant damage. Walls that once glowed with color were now dull stone fragments, and funerary objects lay buried under layers of mud. Yet for archaeologists, every shard of pottery, every small carving is priceless, offering clues to reconstruct the story of a long-lost golden age. To fully appreciate the significance of this discovery, we must look back to the Thutmose dynasty, the era that produced legendary figures such as Pharaoh Hatshepsut, the heretic king Amenhotep IV, Akhenaten, and the boy prince Tutankhamun, an immortal symbol of ancient Egypt. This was a period when Egypt reached its pinnacle in art, religion, and power. Princesses and queens of this dynasty were consistently buried in highly sophisticated tombs imbued with sacred rituals. The features of the newly discovered chamber indicate that its occupant held very high status. The layout, the choice of stone, and the style of decoration all correspond to other tombs of the Thutmose royal class. While the princess's exact identity remains unknown, scientists believe that the mummy and funerary artifacts may hold the key to uncovering her true story. They are conducting CT scans and DNA analyses to find the answers. What makes this discovery even more fascinating is its symbolic meaning. The chamber was not just a final resting place for a noblewoman. It served as a gateway into the spiritual world of ancient Egypt, where death was not an end, but the beginning of a journey into the afterlife. The stairs leading down to the tomb might have represented a path connecting the living world to eternity, while the stone enclosure acted as a protective barrier, shielding the soul from the ravages of time. Even in the cold, dark shadows along the Nile, the tomb radiates a mysterious and haunting beauty. It reminds us that, even after 3,500 years, humans have never stopped being curious about life and death. The rare wine ship at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. Hundreds of bottles of 170-year-old champagne, wine, and royal mineral water. In the icy waters of the Baltic Sea, where silvery waves crash endlessly against the Swedish coastline, a team of divers made a stunning accidental discovery: a mysterious sailing ship that had lain undisturbed for nearly 2 centuries on the seabed. What shocked the world, however, was not just the discovery of an old shipwreck, but the extraordinary treasure it carried. Hundreds of bottles of champagne, wine, and rare mineral water, once considered a miracle elixir, reserved for 19th century European royalty. The find was made by the Polish diving team Baltic, led by veteran diver Tomasz Stachura. They discovered the wreck about 20 nautical miles off the coast of Sweden. When their diving lights pierced the thick layer of sediment, they were breathless at the sight of a 19th century sailing ship, nearly intact, with its cargo hold stacked with barrels, ceramic jars, and over 100 bottles of champagne and mineral water miraculously preserved in the cold seawater. Stachura stated in a press release, "We've never seen a shipwreck carrying so much cargo. Everything looks as if it were just loaded yesterday." Initially, the team thought it was merely a sunken fishing vessel, but the deeper they explored, the more they realized they were witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime archaeological discovery. What particularly amazed researchers were the clay bottles of mineral water among the champagne and wine. They bore the seal of Selters, a prestigious German mineral water brand famous in the 19th century, reserved exclusively for nobility and royalty. At the time, Selters was even regarded as a royal tonic, believed to heal ailments and prolong life. Experts have determined that these bottles were produced between 1850 and 1867, meaning the ship has been underwater for at least 170 years. Given the historical value, the Swedish authorities had to deploy police to guard the salvage area and escort the transport of these artifacts to safety. Stachura added, "The bottles are so valuable that police accompany every move. They're not just collectibles, they are living heritage from a bygone era." The divers discovered the ship on July 11th. After careful consideration, they decided to descend. They intended a quick inspection, but the scene before them made them lose track of time. 2 hours of continuous diving, meticulously documenting every detail. Wooden barrels, ceramic jars, and wine bottles were lined up as if awaiting unloading from centuries ago. Currently, the wreck remains undisturbed on the seabed outside Sweden's exclusive economic zone. Experts are cautious about salvaging it, fearing any mishandling could break the precious bottles. Preparations are also needed for logistics and the diver's mindset. No one is allowed to take a sneak sip before everything is secured. Thomas joked, "It's been there for 170 years. One more year won't hurt, as long as everything stays intact and no one gets drunk at sea." Humorous, right? In the cold, roaring Baltic, the centuries-old ship still silently guards hundreds of bottles of wine, mineral water, and ceramic treasures. Archaeology is serious business, but this time, the divers probably imagined themselves as 19th century aristocrats, marveling at the cargo while silently wishing for a sip of champagne underwater. Now imagine yourself diving in the Baltic and seeing these 170-year-old bottles. What would you think? How astonishing and slightly funny would that moment be? Would you dare to try a sip of history? In the world of archaeology, sometimes what is discovered is even more terrifying than a horror movie. From mummies with unusual forms, tombs buried in puzzling ways, to artifacts carrying messages that modern languages can't decipher, it all creates a picture that is both fascinating and chilling. Some objects seem to defy science, prompting archaeologists to ask, did ancient people possess knowledge far ahead of their time, or are these simply secrets we have yet to understand? There are relics buried so deeply that they are nearly impossible to reach, but when the light of a diver's lamp or a laser beam illuminates them, they reveal bizarre shapes, almost as if trying to send a message from the past. And it is this very mystery that makes excavations so captivating. Standing before these horrifying artifacts, no one can predict what will appear next. Imagine being the first person to see a thousands of years old relic with an unsolved mystery. Would you have the courage to move forward, or would you freeze in the darkness of history? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Ancient History so you won't miss the latest videos from our channel. Thank you for watching, and now goodbye until next time.